Okay guys, we're going to look at some really cool flicks and licks within the E minor pentatonic scale here. So really simple stuff, but stuff that sounds really cool basically. So the E minor pentatonic scale, we're going to look at it here in the open position, so just the first 3 frets. And it's a deceptively deep scale. It looks quite limiting and limited to begin with, but actually it's not. There's some good depth to it. You can have lots of fun with this scale. So I'm presuming you're familiar with the minor pentatonic scale pattern. I'll just very quickly whiz through it. So we're going to play each string open and then one note on each string. Okay, so we're going to play the top string open, and then here on the G, next string open, and then we're going to touch on the 2nd fret there, next string open, here, next string open, here, next string open, then we go to the 3rd fret, and then the last string open. And that would actually be the high E, but we often touch here. So really we're going into the next octave there. Don't worry about why if you don't understand that for now, it's not important. The pattern that we're going to play here is... Okay, so within there's 3 root notes. Root notes are very important because they're notes that will sound great if we ever finish our licks or phrases on them. They'll always sound good. We'll get a sense of resolution when we play them. There's 3 root notes here within this scale, okay? We've got 3 E's. One is the 6th string open. The next one is here, so we're on the 4th string on the 2nd fret. And the last one is the 1st string open. Okay, so we've got 3 E's there. So we're going up through 2 octaves there, okay? Those notes are always going to sound great within here. Now, when can we use this scale? Basically, anytime I'm playing anything in E minor, it will be perfect because it will be a perfect match. But also, lots of the times if you're playing something in E major, if the key of the song is E major, you can use E minor. It might give it a rocky or bluesy feel, which might not be suited to every track, but it works a lot of the time. And also we could use this scale over anything in G major, although the root notes would change. Okay, if the song were in G major, the scale will still work, but the root notes would have to be G instead of E. So we're not going to cover that here. But the actual scale pattern that we're going to show here will work. You just need to finish your phrases on a G note and not the E, and we're not going to go into that here, okay? So E minor pentatonic works great over anything in E minor, can work over lots of stuff in E major, and it will also work on G major, although the root note changes. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Okay, so we're just going to look at a really simple blues turnaround here. So I'm going to play an E5 chord here and just sort of play around with it. So this is essentially an E minor chord, but I'm only going to play strings 4, 5 and 6. So it's actually an E power chord that I'm playing here. And because I'm lazy and I want these other fingers for other stuff, I'm going to play the chord just like this. Okay, I'm only going to play strings 4, 5 and 6, these 3 strings. Okay? Now you can see that within there, all I was playing there was bouncing back and forth between strings 5 and 6, and then touching on the 4th string, and then touching on this G note here, bending it just to give it a bit of a zany blues feel. Okay, so now directly underneath that root note there, that's the root note E. Underneath that we've got a really cool note there that if we bend it, it touches up on the blues note as we bend the pitch. So it always sounds great if we finish it on the root note above, okay? So yeah, you can hold that bend for as long as you want. It sounds cool. Okay? Okay, now do you see that there where I shot up the fretboard? What I did there was I went out of the box, the pattern that we were starting in here, and I just touched on some notes in a higher up box that are easy to play. Those notes are here on the 5th and the 7th fret on these 3 strings. Yeah, so it's 5 7 5 7 5 7. Now they'll always work in E minor, and of course depending on what, if you were playing in a different key, relatively those frets will still work. Okay, so if we move this pattern up and we played in G minor, then we just have to move those numbers relatively up the fretboard. I hope that makes sense. Remember, all of these scale patterns are fixed and movable, so whenever you change them, you're basically just applying them in different places on the fretboard. Anyway, I don't want to go off down that rabbit hole. Getting back to the E minor pentatonic, if you want to break outside and add a little bit of an extra voicing, then that's a really cool way that you can do it. So can you see how all I'm doing there is just playing around in those notes? Dead easy to play because it's just a 2 fret gap. 5 7 5 7 5 7. Okay, so I hope you can see, I hope I'm not going too quickly here, and you can see that literally all I'm playing is, the only chord I'm ever playing here is E5, and then I'm just riffing over that with literally random notes from the E minor pentatonic scale. Okay, let's just look at the high end of that scale. So down at the bottom of this, we've got, okay, now these notes down here, they're going to give us that high end, and that sounds really nice if we've been bouncing around in a low kind of bassy area like this. Very, very bassy. So if you can drop in some of those higher notes, they sound great, you know, because it gives you that the other aspect of the scale, gives you that contrast. Okay, so here, if we play this and pull off, and then pull off on the next string as well, and then bend, and always finish on the root, then that gives us another really nice lick that we can play with. Yeah, can you see that okay? Okay, I hope I haven't gone too fast in this video. I just wanted to share, you know, 2 or 3 nice little patterns that we can use and play around in. And of course, you know, I don't want you to just play verbatim what I've played, you know. I want you to improvise within there yourself. You'll find loads of cool stuff, you know. So remember that because we're playing in E minor here, all of this stuff that we've covered will all sound great over E, A, B, that type of turnaround. So to try and keep things simple, I've just stayed with an E5 chord here. But there's no reason why we couldn't continue doing all of that stuff around a 12 bar pattern. So yeah, we could change to A. Okay, so all I did there was change to an A chord and then carry on playing the same riffs that we were playing before. And then we changed to a B. Okay, so I hope you can see that anything that we play around with in that E minor pentatonic pattern, when we just learn a few of those riffs, we're not stuck with just playing them over an E minor chord. You know, we can use them over any chord in the key of E minor, or E major as we discussed at the beginning, or even stuff over G major. So although that scale looks very sort of limited, like 3 frets, you know, how much can we really do with one box of the minor pentatonic scale? But actually it's really, really versatile. So I hope this has given you a few new things to think about. Maybe just, I don't know, showed you a few, new little lick patterns, or potentially just filled in a little blank in your scale knowledge or your music theory knowledge. In my experience of watching guitar lessons, you usually know most of it, but you can take away a couple of nuggets of information. I hope I haven't gone too quickly for you here. I know that most of the people that come to our site are kind of beginners, but I wanted to put something out there that was a little bit more advanced, so as that people that were more sort of intermediate or advanced guitarists, that you'd have something that you could get your teeth into. Give me some feedback. I don't mind if it's good or bad. Just give me a reaction. Let me know if you enjoyed this, and I can do similar lessons in the future. So yeah, I hope this helped, and I'll see you again soon.